Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wealthy Woman Live. How are you today? I am here with a very special guest, Ed Reay. I'm going to tee him up in just a second, and we are kicking off a live interview series, which I am calling the Industry Icon Interview Series. So, we are going to be bringing up some really powerhouse leaders inside of the marketing industry and just sharing a ton of value, sharing their story, see what they can share. So, Ed, I am super excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, so Ed, I'm going to tee you up a little bit, but I also want to have you give a little bit of an introduction. So, Ed, in my opinion, Ed is just a straight up marketing icon. He's worked with dozens of 7 and 8 figure brands. He's consulting some of the top names behind the scenes, and he has done over, is this correct, 20 million in sales for your clients?
Something like that, yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your story in the industry, how you got started?
So, man, just like any good story, if you're a guy, it all starts with a girl. So there's this girl when I was 11 years old, and I was obsessed with her. And I was this chubby little kid. I was super into girls, and I wanted her to like me. So I went to Google and I typed how to get girls to like me. And so I got hit with all these Google ads on, secret pickup tips, get her number, get her to chase you. And so I'd watch all these like video sales letters from like the top dating coaches at the time. 2011 was back when the world's top copywriters were all in the dating space. And so I got in that world from a consumer perspective. And so I had the world's best copywriting at the time, like almost like ingrained in me as a consumer, because I went through everything. I voraciously read through emails, sales letters, video sales letters. I would really sit and take notes on video sales letters, like, oh, that's good information. And then eventually I was like 14 or 15 years old. I was like, man, I've been through enough of these dating products. I could probably go and teach this now, and make money doing it. I never did. But uh, didn't work out. I got recruited into a network marketing, multi-level marketing. And that's when I got to learn how to write and run my own Facebook ads. And I didn't make any sales there either, but that taught me about copywriting. And it wasn't until I met a mentor in Vancouver when he said, Ed, why are you writing copy for yourself? You should be writing it for other people and get paid. And when I was like 15, 16 years old, that was when I started doing done for you copywriting. And I started working for that mentor for 2.5 years, learned all the tricks of the trade of online marketing, high ticket coaching, and funnels. And fast forward 2.5, 3 years later, here I am.
Oh my gosh, I love this story. I had no idea that that's how you got into marketing. And guys, if you're with us live, drop a hi, hello, drop Ed some love. Let us know that you're with us or if you're watching the replay. But what an interesting story. And so 15, 16, you got into the industry and like fast forward to 2023, like what have you seen of some of the major changes that have been happening in the industry? How has the industry been shifting and changing to where it is today?
It's a great question. The number one thing that's shifting, and it sounds so cheesy and cliche, but it's true, is we're shifting to this new age of almost as like transparency and authenticity. I hate to use the word authenticity because it's really overused, but it's true. Where we're sick of the fake countdown timers, we're sick of, oh, if you don't buy now, the price will go up by $3,000. And people are no longer valuing the people who flex their Lamborghinis and all their wads of cash and like the flashy stuff. These days we're like, do you have the time freedom? Do you have a family that loves you? Do you have friends? Do you like, so the new status has moved away from materialistic things to things worth intrinsic value, like friends, family, and just being happy as a human being. And it's just I'm all for it because I studied under the bro. I call them the bro marketers, the guys who just sell, 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 and it's okay to sell. Nothing wrong with that. But when it's like arm twisting and manipulating and making people go into severe debt on a hope and a dream of a course or program that may or may not help them and doesn't really give them much support, I'm not about that. But we're slowly moving away from that, and I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah. And I love this, right? Because it's almost like there's an unlearning that's happening
Yeah.
right now, especially just, I know in my world, that's been like the past year and a half has been a lot of unlearning the things I learned in order to be like the first successes I had in the industry. I had to unlearn a lot of those tactics and a lot of the different things. So, and I love this, right? Because at what point in your marketing journey, right? So of course we have to learn the rules or the principles or the foundations. At what point, right? Because they do work for a little while. At what point do we need to unlearn them and just really start going in a different direction?
Ooh, it's a great question. I'm a big believer that you have to learn the rules before you can break them. Um, I don't know if you've read Mastery by Robert Greene, but basically, in order for you to progress to the level of mastery where there are no rules, you do have to learn them and abide by them first. And I do think that's where most people are at right now. But once you really understand the foundations of marketing, I still think most people don't. Then you can kind of transition over into implementing your own style, I call it, right? Or your own like sauce or flavor that's unreplicable because it works just for you. And that's not a revenue number. That's not a, oh, I've been doing this for 3, 4, 5 years. It's, do I really think I have a handle on this? Actually, one of the best ways to know when you've kind of got it is when you listen to a guru and you follow what they say, but you actually get worse results than if you were just kind of doing your own thing. That happened to me so many times where like there's like an esteemed guru who does things his way or her way, and I listen to them and I'm like, okay, this sounds cool, this makes sense, we'll give it a try, and it fucking doesn't work, or it feels really like out of alignment with my values, or it doesn't feel right. That's when you go, okay, maybe I should just listen to myself. Not that you can't get help, but the people who are telling you what to do, maybe it's time to ease off that.
I love this. I love this. And it's like this deeper understanding of why do we need to do the what? Like what is the purpose behind it? And once you understand that, that's when you can really start breaking the rules.
Exactly. Most people don't understand the foundations or the why of marketing. Like, for example, someone be like, hey, use this template, to grow your business. Okay, I'll use it, I'll get good results. But why does it work? Is it because of the headline? Is it because of it shows credibility and proof? Is it because like why does it work? But very, very few people in the game actually teach that part because very few know it either.
Yeah. And I love this conversation and I love this concept of mastering the basics because I feel like it's such an important part, but people want to skip over it. And we're also in this microwave culture where everybody wants results fast and everybody thinks that they can just like turn on Facebook ads, they're going to scale to $1 million and that's going to be the magic bullet. And that's what, I feel like a lot of people were sold over the past however many years. So, when we get deeper into that conversation of mastering the basics in marketing, in, like putting your offer out there, building your brand, what do you think those basics are that are so crucial to spend some more time on?
It's a great question. You got some good questions, my friend. Uh, so the basics that I see is it comes down to three things. Um, One, do you have an offer that people actually want? So I see a lot of people, especially unfortunately people in like more health and wellness and spirituality, where it'll be like, oh yeah, I'll teach you how to do yoga. And it's like most people don't want to just do yoga. They want yoga so they can do, I don't know, so they can fix their lower back pain, so they can, I don't know, have a deeper connection with God, or so, something, right? So the offer needs to be positioned in a way that is outcome focused, not mechanism focused. Mechanism is the way you achieve the outcome. That's the first thing. Second thing is you have to consistently get leads. You have to consistently get in front of the right people. And it doesn't matter whether that's through Facebook, whether you're posting daily or if you are doing outbound DM or a mix of both. That's what I do. Or you're doing cold emailing, or you're doing YouTube organic, doesn't matter, but there should be one thing that you do that is consistent to generate leads, whatever that is. Maybe your game is Facebook ads or YouTube ads, doesn't matter, but one thing and just stick to it over a long period of time. And then the third thing is, and this is a weird one, is being an attractive character, or not physically, but intellectually, being a person that people just want to be around. I think that's one of the most undervalued skills, because most people are so focused on, hey, do you have this pain point? Do you have this problem? I'll help solve it. But especially as we're, there's more and more coaches than ever, there's more and more noise than ever, people are starting to stick more closely to whoever they're already trusting. And the best way to build trust is by showing your personal values and becoming that attractive character that people resonate with on not just a business level, but a personal level. And so I think that's like, those are the three real keys. Like if we were to 30,000 foot view, I mean, yeah, there's like split testing, optimizing, like targeting the right audience, like there's all of that. But as long as you've got those three things, like that's at least the foundations.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. And this was something that I really pulled out of just your journey overall, was this concept of ethics over profit, right? And we're talking about like being a values-based marketer. And especially as we're building a brand and we're building trust and we're building a name in this industry, how do you really see that playing into, I'm just going to say, for example, like maybe your content strategy overall and just really getting people to know you in the marketplace?
So you're asking like kind of how I get people to know me,
Um,
or
let's just say, for example, I consider you a prolific producer. Like you're cranking out content a lot. Like you post multiple times a day. How much of that is, right? Like we're talking about values-based marketing. How much of that is personal? Is there like a strategy behind that? What does that actually look like?
another great question. So this is sound crazy. The amount of it that is values based, by values, it's like I value ethics, integrity, freedom, fun, love, and connection. Those are like my 5 values, right? Well, I rattled those off really quickly. So I would say about 60-70% is values, actually. And some like maybe 20% of my 20-30% of my content is personality of, I posted the day like oysters are a top tier food because I love oysters. I fucking love oysters. You know, and there's a lot of comments about that, like ew, or yeah, they're my favorite, or whatever, right? It creates conversation and people start to associate that, right? So that's more like personal, but values based will be more like, one story I told a long time ago was, I had a guy who purchased my $2,000 course when I was selling it back then, and he purchased past the deadline. Now, most people in that situation would just kept the money and been like, "Oh, no one will know, right?" But nobody will know, but I will know. So I refunded the money. I never heard from the guy. He like I refunded him. I said, "Hey man, I refunded your money because you bought past the deadline. So I'm sorry." He never replied, never nothing. So I'm assuming he would just like impulse purchase and fucked off basically. And I could have kept that money, but I didn't. And so I tell these sorts of stories not to market myself, because I think a lot of people do think, oh yeah, I have to show I'm a good person. It's like, you just be a good person and talk about what you're doing. So that's what I do.
Yeah, and that's so huge, right? Because storytelling is such a foundational pillar of what I feel at least my audience resonates with the most. I love leaning into that content because it feels the most authentic for me. But there's also this duality in the industry of like, you know, teach them the 3 tips and like, shift their beliefs and, like drill into their pain points and all of that. So like how do you see those, like how do you see the duality of that type of content?
no one has ever asked me these these questions. These are so good. I love this. So the way that I do it, I still do pain points. I still do like belief shifting. All of my content is belief shifting. But the way that I see it is every single post is meant to make a sale. Now, it doesn't have to be a financial transactional sale. It could be it could be something funny. So, somebody reads your post and like they exhale through their nostrils as like, oh, that was funny, like, like when you see like a funny thing, but it's not like that funny. Even it's as simple as that, right? So most of my content is based around that, where it's more building that personal connection, but then also showcasing authority and documenting what I'm doing with clients. For example, I made a post the other day. I was like, hey, I was training the copywriters at this company that's $40 million a year. And I was, here's the things I did with them, right? If you notice, I'm not selling, but I'm selling. You hear that and you go, okay, Ed works with fucking huge companies in our industry. 1, 2, he probably charges a lot. He does. 3, he's in demand. 4, he knows copywriting, marketing, strategy, consulting, like all of that, right? 5, he's got some cool insights because he shared, what he learned and what he's doing. So I don't have to say, hey, are you sick and tired of whatever you're doing? Well, buy my shit. Like, I don't have to do that. Like, when you are doing cool things or thinking about cool things, even if you don't have results, you just talk about them, people will naturally want to reach out. And then when I do want to sell, I do go pain points. I do go, hey, like, do you not want to have to review your copywriter's copy anymore? Well, I'll do it for you. Or, it's not that terrible of a pain point, but a lot of my non-salesy content does all the selling for me. So by the time I do sell, it's like lights out.
I love that. I love that, just that last part that you said. And I feel like this is just also a different way to look at content, right? When I feel like I learned content, it was similar to what you said. Everything's a sale. Everything's a sale, but right, like very like direct response marketing, get them to opt in, get them to say the word, get them in the DMs. But the way that I relearned content was that every piece of content is building your personal brand, and your personal brand is what creates the relationship, and the relationship is what creates the sale at the end of the day. So, like, if anybody, well, let me just digress, because you started out when you're like 15, 16, which is crazy. Like, how did you actually build your personal brand now you're like crazy in demand? You're working with some of the top people in the industry. You are just doing phenomenal things. Like, how did you build your personal brand and just really see? I feel like from my perspective, there's like a fast track in there.
So it was a very, very long and arduous approach. And if I knew what I knew now, I could have done it in 100th of the time. But how I started was back when I was a copywriter, I would post in job boards, but I knew that everybody in there is just, oh, please give me a job. Please give me a job. So I made it an intention to use my young age of 16 years old as my edge. So I would make posts about how I would close deals. So like I remember one time I asked my geography teacher if I could leave class 15 minutes early so I could go close a deal. I made a post about that in a job board community, and I would just tell stories. It was like the Chronicles of Ed fucking Reay when he was 16 years old in high school, getting copywriting deals, and people just want to hire me. And so like it's always been Facebook for me. And then what was really fun is, so I'm a breakdancer. I've been doing that for years. So I've got some cool breakdance pictures. I know that when you do a picture on Facebook, it does better, right? So in the job board, I put a picture of me doing a one-hand handstand. That's kind of my signature move. And I was like 16, 17 at the time. And I knew the controversy was going to get a lot of comments. I said, my parents are threatening to kick me out because I'm not going to college. I will write whatever copy you want for $500 a pop. This was like, again, I was really, really starting out. Most posts in that group got like 1 or 2 likes, 1 or 2 comments. I had like 40 likes and 60 comments because I knew how to hack the algorithm, because I knew people would be like, oh, go to school, blah, 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 right? I actually got 30 people kicked out of the group because of that post, because you're not supposed to be talking about anything non-hiring or, vendor related. And ever since then, like, that's just been my game. It's just been like authentically just teaching, like telling stories of my life. And I hate to say being vulnerable, but being fucking real. Like, I think a lot of people, especially in our industry, it's they posture, and then one day life smacks them so fucking hard in the face that they have to make a post about how their world is crumbling to clear their guilty conscience. And so I like to not do that. I like to just talk about the little things along the way as they happen, or at least after I'm done with them. So that's the key to personal brand, in my opinion. It's just talking about real shit that happens in your life. Most people just talk about the product that they're selling, or the pain points, or the desires. But a lot of your content, and don't take this to the extreme, should sound a bit like a journal entry. Because frankly, for me, a lot of the times it is.
I love that. I love that. I think people get so caught up in like not wanting to, whether it's be controversial or push the envelope a little bit, or like they're afraid to be vulnerable online. But it's just like, it's very refreshing to hear, even from somebody who is just like doing such incredible things, that like that is the ticket. Humanizing your content, authenticity, all those things. You mentioned if you could do it in 100th of the time, building your personal brand, building your reputation in the industry. How, let us all know, because I would like to know this secret as well. Like what would that look like?
Okay. Very simply, and this is like kind of what I teach people who work with me, and I thought like my course. Very simply, it's like niche the fuck down. And I've always done that. But what I never did was adding people consistently and aggressively on Facebook. So doesn't matter if you got an email list or like YouTube, find ways to get more people in front of your stuff, right? On Facebook is just adding friends. So I would have gone into more groups with business owners that I would have wanted to work with, and added them as a friend. And I would have done like 20 or 30 of those a day. And then I would have just like network with them and just try to add value while posting consistently. So it's really what I'm doing right now, and what my students are doing. But back then I was not doing consistently. I was not, it was pretty haphazard, and I wasn't intentionally like creating those connections or networking. If I had done all that like at the start, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I definitely overlooked that for a long time when I was building my business. I think it's easy to get caught in this like lone wolf kind of syndrome as an entrepreneur, and we're like in our home office, and it's easy to just get in that silo. But
Yep.
I feel exactly like you said. As soon as I started doing that, focusing on building relationships, it's like this network is just so valuable in our industry. People overlook that so often.
Yeah. I call it I call it the friend first, client second approach. That's how I believe. Like, that's how pretty much like I got all my clients. I would just fucking make friends with people. I would just like, if someone was posting about, I don't know, Keith Urban concert that they went to, I would be like, yo, I love Keith Urban. Let's chat about that. Like, I'm not trying to sell you, but let's chat about Keith Urban. Let's talk about concerts. Oh, I've never been to one. Oh, cool. And then just make a friend. And then you never have to talk shop pretty much ever, but usually it gets to that point when you do. And then either they're going to refer you work, or when they need that help, they'll just hire you because you're already front and center. And especially if you're posting consistently, you're on their mind.
I love this. I love this. I feel like this is like in that spectrum of you're breaking a lot of the rules of direct response marketing, and this just feels like a perfect example. How are you getting people to like you have a lot of inbound client requests, right? Like how are you doing that? And it seems like it's from a very place of detachment, right?
Hmm. Well, like I've said before, it's just me posting my story and things that I'm doing. Uh, and I think another thing that I've done that I don't think a lot of people do, because they're so stuck in like, what do I say to get the client? And they're like it's this, and then there's this whole world around it. I don't know if you've noticed, I talk around things. I don't really say things that directly normally. Like I'm not like, hey, I'll help you get bajillion clients in 2 months. Like I don't work that way. Or it's like, hey, if you don't buy my stuff, you're a loser. It's very roundabout. So what I mean by that is the reason why people reach out to me is because I've developed, and I don't do this intentionally, just how it works and through reflection, enough hook points and curiosity points that get someone to go, fuck, I need to learn what this guy's doing. And so that could be like, for example, like what you just mentioned, like I get clients reaching out to me all the time asking to work with me. And for somebody listening might be like, oh my God, how does he do that? And that might be enough to reach out, be like, hey, how are you doing that? Can you help me do that too? Right. So you almost, I don't know if like, have you studied copywriting much? I don't know what your background is.
I
Um,
I nerded out on it for like the past year
okay.
and a half because in my opinion, it's the most one of the most important skill sets that you can
It
learn as a
is.
marketer.
Agreed. So how, okay. Do you know what part of the sales letter is the most important aside from the headline?
The lead?
Yes, and the bullets, the
Okay.
fascination.
Okay.
Because what the headline is a fascination. What the lead is a fascination. Because it's like, oh, in this training, you'll discover blah, 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 blah. Or it's like, hey, if you give me 30 seconds, I will show you how to do XYZ without ABC with this brand new LMNOP. That's a bullet. It's a curiosity. And so all of this copywriting is a curiosity. It's a hook. And so when you develop enough of these, how the fuck does this person do that? When you have enough of those sprinkled throughout your content, people can't help but reach out.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. And we are getting to time. What's
Are we
exciting for you?
already?
Like, what is, I know that like flew by today. What is alive for you right now? What are you working on? Do you have any cool offers that you have? How can people
Hmm.
work with you, get a hold of you, all of the things?
So right now, the only way to work with me is one-on-one. I am working on some courses or programs in the near future. I'm looking at launching. I'm considering one on like dialing in your marketing messaging. That's a huge problem I see. People don't just can't do it for some reason. Um, so yeah, just follow me on Facebook. I mean, I think probably tagged in your post, Ed Reay, EDREAY. That's my name. If you see a handsome dude with a beard, hopefully I will. By the time you're listening to this, I will continue to have that beard. I mean, who knows? Maybe I have just a mustache. Um, and yeah, like I've got an email list. I email once in a while. If you'd like to work with me, I'd love to help you. A lot of the work I do with clients is oftentimes they'll reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, I'm having this problem. And what the fuck do I do? And we'll usually do like an hour consult and just get to the bottom of it. And then 89% of the time, people are like, dude, can I work with you ongoing? Like, how does it look to keep going together? Um, so I love to work really intimately with people. I'm not like a group coaching model kind of guy. That may change in the future, but right now it's just I love working really intimately with people because again, it's friends first, client second, right? It's like I feel like it's just hanging out. That's what we do here.
I love this. I love this. Yeah, everybody who's watching, go add Ed as a friend, go follow him, make sure that all of his info is dropped below. And your newsletter is just amazing. You started a newsletter recently, so like feel free also to drop that in the comments after we get off because there's just so much value that you're sending out every week. And any final words for everybody who's on the live, everybody who's on the replay?
Oh man. Final words. There's a great quote from Bruce Lee, and I don't want to butcher it, but basically it's use what is useful, discard what is not, and make everything else your own.
I love that. I love that. Discernment. Discernment. That is like the word of the year for me. Ed, thank you so much for joining us today. This was just such an awesome conversation, and I'm just really appreciating you coming on, sharing so much value with our audiences. And like I said, everybody go connect with Ed. So great to have you on. And Ed, I will see you so soon. I'll see everybody else inside the community, inside of our next Wealthy Woman Live. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.